President Trump has scored a major victory with a recent ruling by the Supreme Court. Tyrone Bowman live. Let's get right down to it. According to the Washington Post, the headline reads, Supreme Court allows use of wartime law to deport alleged gang members. A divided court said migrants filed their challenges to the Alien Enemies Act in the wrong jurisdiction, but also said potential deportees must get due process. Well, actually, it was the lawyers who made the blunder, not the migrants, because they don't know anything about the law. So that means that the lawyers, they muffed it up. Okay, this article was written by Justin Jovino and Anne E. Marama. Hope I got their names right. If I didn't, I apologize. So let's get down to this article. Let's talk about it. According to the Washington Post, the Supreme Court on Monday removed a temporary block on the Trump administration's use of a controversial wartime authority to deport alleged members of a Venezuelan gang, ruling the 5 immigrants who challenged the policy did so in the wrong court. The detainees are confined in Texas, so venue is improper in the District of Columbia. The justices wrote of the challenges in U.S. District Court in D.C. As a result, the government is likely to succeed on the merits of this action, quote, close quote. The 5-4 ruling did not touch on the underlying legal questions of the challenge. It leaves open the possibility the migrants could refile their case in Texas or other jurisdictions where they are detained. But for now, it opens the door for the Trump administration to deport more Venezuelan migrants under the act, although it also said the government must give prospective deportees notice and an opportunity to challenge their removal. And it appears to take the central legal issues of the case away from the U.S. District Judge James E. Boasberg, whose temporary restraining order blocking the deportations prompted impeachment calls from Trump and his allies. The court's 3 liberal justices dissented, joined in part by Justice Amy Coney Barrett. The liberals warned of potential life or death consequences from the majority's order and criticized their colleagues, saying their ruling floats well-established limits, creates new law on the emergency docket, and eludes the serious threat our interpretation or our intervention poses to the lives of individual detainees, quote, close quote. President Donald Trump invoked the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, which is aimed at removing citizens of a nation with which the United States is at war, after declaring the presence of the Venezuelan Trendy Agua gang in the United States as an invasion. Government attorneys said Boasberg's block on such deportations, while litigation continues, was an unconstitutional imposition on the president's broad authority to deal with national security issues and conduct foreign policy. They claim the gang is operating in the United States at the behest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, an idea disputed by government intelligence agencies. This case presents fundamental questions about who decides how to conduct sensitive national security related operations in this country, the president or the judiciary, quote, close quote. Acting Solicitor General Sarah M. Harris wrote in court filings. The Constitution supplies a clear answer. The president, the republic, cannot afford a different choice. Boasberg halted the deportations temporarily in response to a lawsuit filed by the American Civil Liberties Union on behalf of 5 migrants. The organization says Trump can't invoke the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans because the United States is not at war with the country. It called the president's use of the act unprecedented, quote, close quote. The act was meant to solely to address military hostilities directed at the United States, not criminal activity by a gang during peacetime. ACLU attorneys wrote in a filing. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem celebrated the Supreme Court's ruling in a ruling in a social post, and social media post. Quite sure it was on Musk's stuff or on Trump's. President Trump was proven right once again. Soltis confirms our Commander-in-Chief Donald Trump has the power to stop the invasion, blah, 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 of our country by terrorists using wartime powers. Leave now or we will arrest you, lock you up, and deport you, she wrote. We are disappointed that we will need to start the court process over again in a different venue, but the crucial point is that the Supreme Court said individuals must be given due process to challenge their removal under the Alien Enemies Act. Lead ACLU attorney Lee Gillerant said in a statement, the act has been invoked 3 other times in the nation's history and only during wartime, including World War II, when it was used to hold tens of thousands of people, including U.S. citizens of Japanese descent. A judge three panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit upheld Boasberg's injunction 2-1, emphasizing that it was a temporary decision and not the final word on the legality of Trump's use of the act. Boasberg called the Trump administration's use of the act problematic and concerning. He also has questioned whether Trump officials purposely defied his March 15 order blocking deportations under the act, when he told the government it should return any planes already carrying deportees from the United States. Trump officials have since said more than 130 Venezuelans who were being deported under the act were beyond U.S. airspace at the time of Boasberg's order and therefore could not be returned. The deportees were transferred to a prison in El Salvador that is known for human rights abuses. Family members have disputed that some of the migrants were gang members, and the government has acknowledged in court filings that many did not have criminal records in the United States. El Salvador's President Yabib Buckley, who agreed to jail the deportees in exchange for payment from the United States, appeared to celebrate their arrival in his country in the wake of Boasberg's ruling. Oopsie, too late, Berkeley posted on X with a crying from laughter emoji and an image of a newspaper headline about the order. The case has sparked Republicans on Capitol Hill to seek ways to rein in federal judges who have put temporary blocks on many of Trump's initiatives while lawsuits challenging the legality proceed. Well, you know what? That's their right. Just like anybody else has a right. As you all saw throughout the presidential election, they all were filing lawsuits all over the place. Tyrone Bowman, never surrender, never quit.